you're Ibaka, or if you're Al Horford, or if you're Joel Embiid even, what's scarier, guarding AD on a perimeter or guarding AD down in the paint? You know, in the paint, it's easier to play help defense. You can have another guy come play some off-ball defense, maybe get a block, maybe trap him, clog up the paint just a little bit. But if you put Anthony Davis in a pick and roll at the top of the key, or you put him in an isolation at the top of the key, it's going to get nasty. Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. Now, let's get into it, man, because we got a great week. We got some NFL here. We got some NBA as well. But let's kick it off because, you know, the person that last always get the support, right? You run a race, you run a marathon, the person who's way at the end, bringing it in, you know, they going to clap it up for them. They just got to give them some support. From that perspective, that's what we're seeing with the Lakers right now, because they recently just got their first win so far this season over the Denver Nuggets last night. And I mean, it was kind of a support thing. We're happy for the Lakers that they finally got on the board. But personally, I still don't think this Lakers team is going to achieve absolutely anything. This team still needs to be diminished desperately, because the personnel still sucks. They don't have any shooters on this roster. You got about 5 point guards on this team: Schroeder, Chris Nunn, Westbrook, Pat Bev, and none of these guys are really lethal shooters. Schroeder is not even healthy right now. AD and Bron, they've been struggling with effort, obviously. And again, did I say no shooters on this team yet? Because I don't know what's going on. But the only bucket really outside of AD and Bron is Lonnie Walker IV. And I think the Lakers really here with something that could drastically change their perspective or their trajectory right now is if they got a center. I don't personally like Anthony Davis at the 5. And obviously there's other things that's been going on with Anthony Davis in terms of effort of why the Lakers hasn't really been thriving. And I think the primary root of why the Lakers have been failing so far is just effort based. A lot of guys aren't out there giving maximum effort, including one of the stars on the team, which is Anthony Davis. But when I say they need a center and a 5 on the court with Anthony Davis, I mentioned that only for the fact that I believe Anthony Davis is much more effective playing the 4 when there's another big on the floor. Because if Lakers are going to spread the floor and they're going to let Anthony Davis work out, he has more opportunity to create and more leverage to score wherever on the court when there's not 4 other guys spreading the floor around the arc. But if everybody else is around the arc and he has to score inside, which he's perfectly fine at doing, I just think paint guys, when you look at centers, they're better at playing paint defense than playing perimeter defense. Because you tell me, tell me seriously, what's scarier? What's really scarier? If you're a center, if you're Ibaka, or if you're Al Horford, or if you're Joel Embiid even, what's scarier, guarding AD on a perimeter or guarding AD down in the paint? You know, in the paint, it's easier to play help defense. You can have another guy come play some off-ball defense, maybe get a block, maybe trap him, clog up the paint just a little bit. But if you put Anthony Davis in a pick and roll at the top of the key, or you put him in an isolation at the top of the key, it's going to get nasty. It's going to be scary. You're on the island. You put one of those centers on the island, it's going to get nasty. Not many people are trying to defend that. And truthfully, not many centers are going to be able to guard that from the Los Angeles Lakers or from any team. But if the Lakers accommodate to letting Anthony Davis play outside and then playing in when he has a mismatch or when he has that opportunity or wants that bucket, that can be a huge game changer for them. And again, all based on that underlying factor of the Lakers playing with much more effort. But other than that, if they're not going to switch this team, I don't think they succeed any other way, because it's been put together very, very poorly. I think the Lakers front office are struggling. And in terms of trades, to hell with the draft picks. Let them go. If you're serious about winning right now and actually trying to take this team far, shut up all the naysayers, shut up all the doubters, you need to trade those picks, and everybody else whose name is not Anthony Davis and LeBron needs to be put on a drawing board to possibly be traded. Go get some shooters. Go get some other bucket getters who can help carry the load. And truthfully, somebody needs to sit down with Anthony Davis and have that conversation of, look, we need you to be the dog now. We need you to take on the toll of leading this organization right now. Because, yeah, you still have LeBron, but LeBron has clearly expressed some things of wanting to play that backseat role. He's at the time where he needs to be carried. He can't be carrying people in year 20. Like, AD has to step up. He has to click on that switch. We've seen him do it, so we know it's there. We know AD is well capable of being able to take over a game, be a dog, completely be a leader, all of that. But we just need to see him channel that type of energy and bring the rest of the team with him and keep it going. But as far as the Lakers, they definitely got to get something going. We're going to jump into actually our spotlight highlight for some of these guys. We'll take a quick break and then we'll jump back into it. Some guys who've really been balling so far to start this season. They don't get too much recognition because there's other big names out there, other big teams. Maybe their team isn't winning as much. Maybe they don't have the history of winning over these last few years. So we'll touch on a few of these guys, these spotlight guys, and then we'll be right. Oh, we'll do that when we return. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back with the spotlight. All right, so the spotlight highlight. So the first guy, this guy, I've kind of been a fan, but he's been very low key because he's on a losing team with the San Antonio Spurs. Keldon Johnson, he's been absolutely hooping. He's a bucket. For anybody who hasn't really been watching the Spurs, obviously, you know, if they're not winning, they're not a team you're just going to sit down and watch every time. But they play good competition in that tough Western Conference, so I see this guy ball out and does his thing. But I think this is going to be his breakout year. He's been in the year 3 leagues, just to give a little background information, and he's been doing his thing year after year, constantly improving by numbers and by play, just understanding the game, and clearly has been under Greg Popovich's wings. And from what I'm seeing with him, last night he had 25, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds. Last night over the win over the Timberwolves. But he has the ability to shoot. He has the ability to distribute. He has the ability to create. And he's been on a tear. The last few games to start the season as well, he's had over 24 points, and he's been shooting above 40% each game. So this guy, Keldon Johnson, definitely keep an eye out. He's a bucket there in San Antonio, and they're doing their thing, trying to build more and more pieces, but they have a very young team, so it's going to be hard for them to succeed so early on. But hey, he's definitely earning this spotlight right now. Now, one of the areas I would say he has to improve in is just his turnovers. Now he's not crazy with the turnovers. He's not up there with Russell Westbrook, he's not up there on that level of turnovers and just flipping the rock. But I have noticed so far to start the season, each time he's gotten more minutes, there's been more turnovers happening out there in the game. And I'm sure it's something he's already conscious about. I'm sure it's something Popovich is already conscious about as well. But he's completely ball dominant so far in the game. He's the one that's primarily distributing the rock. So it comes with the territory of having to protect the ball. So I completely understand that. But Keldon Johnson, hey, he's doing his thing. I hope he continues to do his thing. Now, another team here, this is kind of a team. So I'm going to try and do one player, one team, or whoever else is just in the mix. But player team here, Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers have been earning my respect bit by bit and more as this season has progressed. To start the season, obviously, they're hot. They're 5-1 right now. But Donovan Mitchell has been on a tear. He's averaging over 30 points a game right now, 7 assists, and he's been doing his thing. He had one game under 30 points out of the 6 games that they've played, and they still won the game. So as a team, not only as a player, I think this team has absolutely been pretty amazing so far. So clap it up for them. They've definitely been good. And I say they've been earning my respect mainly for the fact that when I see this team play and I see this roster, I believe their most difficult challenge is definitely going to come in the postseason. They're obviously a great team to win any type of regular ball game, any regular season game so far because of the personnel they have and the guys that they have. And adding Donovan Mitchell obviously makes a huge difference to any team. But I had some doubts just for the fact that the team is so young. But from what I've seen so far, it's been a great blend. And they've been doing their thing. So I'll give them the spotlight. Here with Donovan Mitchell. You definitely want to keep an eye out for Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers so far. And again, their biggest and greatest test this season is going to be in the postseason when they have to play the best of the best in this win or go home. That's what I'm really waiting to see for this team. But Karis LeVert, Darius Garland's hurt right now, but he's going to come back. It's going to be crazy. Mobley is still doing his thing. K Love is playing his solid role right now as a vet. So I'm proud of this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And then honorary, this guy gets a lot of attention, so I didn't want to do a full spotlight on him. But Luka Doncic, how can you not bring up his name in this situation here? Luka has been crazy. He's been crazy. He's been a pure bucket so far, helping Dallas out. But all I'm going to say right now, because I'm not going to spend too much time on Luka Doncic, is that I would love to see Luka Doncic learn how to play off ball. That would be the next step for me that would propel him to the next level. Because right now he's kind of at that James Harden base of he can create, he can shoot, he can score, he can do it all. And he scores with ease, so ease. The 30 ball comes so effortlessly with Luka Doncic. He plays at his own pace, all of that. But the whole thing here is that, okay, yeah, he's out there in Dallas. He's doing this by himself. But if we were to bring some dogs around him, would he be able to play off ball? So I kind of want to see Luka maybe transition to that just a tiny bit, only if it'll actually help the Dallas Mavericks. There's been a lot of question about it, but there's no need for him to play off ball if it's not going to help the team. But since he has Spencer Dinwiddie there, you can kind of transition into that if you really wanted to. So I would like to see Luka maybe play off ball, but especially because, you know, it's hard because he's not really the guy that's going to be running around. So it would be interesting to see, even if it's just a couple pin downs, like come off a screen, pin down, boom, fade, one dribble, shot. Like even those type of things would be nice to see from Luka Doncic, other than having to need the ball to score and be effective with this Dallas team. So I am excited watching Luka Doncic. He's been crazy so far. So credit to him as well. He definitely gets this honorary spotlight. He's definitely in the light. But look, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to jump into some scores. Hey, call into the run, man. 219-413-9405. Leave a voicemail. Tell us what you got to say. Hey, if you heard something you didn't like, if you have an opinion on something that I may have said, if you have a spotlight player you think may have been great, go ahead and give us a call and share your thoughts. Go ahead, join the tribe. Once again, call in at 219-413-9405. Let's jump into the scores and the recap of Week 8 in the NFL, and we will be right back after this. Yes, sir. The best sports podcast there is, all the way from Detroit to Chicago. Welcome back to The Run. Let's do it. So we have some scores for The Run here. Kicking it off with my Detroit Pistons. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know how we get down. You know how we get down. Finally getting some progress with this young core. But we beat the Golden State Warriors last night, 128-114 in Detroit. I'm always happy about a Detroit Pistons win. K did his thing. Sadiq Bey did his thing as well. So I was happy about that. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, they beat the New York Knicks in Cleveland, 121-108. University of Michigan beat the Michigan State Spartans. In football, 29-7. I wanted Michigan State to win, but I mean, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. And the Seahawks, they stopped the Giants. Moving on to the NFL, they stopped the Giants' winning streak as they won 27-13 in Seattle. So congrats to the Seahawks. I got this game wrong in my predictions. I'll touch on a couple of those as well in just a second as well. But the Buffalo Bills, they beat the Green Bay Packers 27-17. And Monday Night Football, which is today, the Cincinnati Bengals, they take on the Cleveland Browns. And I predicted that the Browns will win this ball game at home. Now, my Atlanta Falcons, oh man, you know, another beautiful win. This is a victory Monday. Oh man, I forgot to act out. Y'all got lucky. Y'all got so lucky today. Oh, you got lucky. I was talking about basketball because I really forgot to act out. Both of my teams won. Both of my teams, stop the music. Both of my teams won yesterday. So we got the Pistons, they got to win, and my Atlanta Falcons got to win on Sunday. Man, y'all got lucky I forgot to act out in the beginning of this. Oh, man. But the Falcons, they won. They beat the Panthers in OT. It was a hell of a win, too. We won 37-34. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be division champions. We are winning the NFC South, period. I'm 100% convinced the Atlanta Falcons, we are going to win the NFC South. We're not worried about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They haven't been good. They've been just as inconsistent as us. The Panthers, we just handled that business. Clearly, they were competitive against us, but it don't matter. We overcame the adversity. We won the ball game. The Saints, they've been iffy. We were in the ball game with them. It was early on in the season. Not really too worried about them. They've been inconsistent. They've had injuries. So that only leaves us to be the champions. I mean, it's up for grabs. It's really up for grabs. So you have to take it game by game. So it's not like we don't have a chance at all. We really have a chance to come on top as the NFC South divisional champs. And I'm saying we're going to do it. When we take it game by game and we look at the matchup game by game, the Atlanta Falcons, we can handle each of our opponents because Tampa Bay, again, not good, all of that. Panthers, everybody else, they're just as good as us. The competition is steady in the NFC South. So I'm loving our chances as the Atlanta Falcons to win our division. I love it. I'm going to keep preaching this TED Talk. I'm going to keep preaching this same TED Talk. But also, too, so I had 11 wins so far in week 8. I'm loving that. Let's keep this energy rolling, man. I'm 11-4 so far, which is my new personal best. But there's also more games, so it kind of balances out as well. But I'm hoping to be 12-4 with the Browns winning this ball game here in Cleveland. They play the Bengals. It's going to be a tough matchup, but I think the Browns are going to pull this off. I believe in Vegas, this is an underdog matchup, but I'm confident in the Browns that they'll win this ball game. But more importantly, some of the games that's already happened, you had the Cowboys. They whacked the Bears on Sunday, and the Vikings, they beat the Cardinals. I got this game wrong here, and I really just wanted to touch on this game because the Cardinals, they lost 34-26, and this is the Vikings' 5th straight win. So they've been kind of looking legit, and people have been up and down about giving them the crown of being legit just for the fact that the competition they played is a little iffy. Some people say, okay, well, they haven't really been tested yet. I thought that the Cardinals would be that test of this team. I figure, okay, well, the Cardinals, they have a pretty good offense to actually help this team. But I was wrong, and let me tell you why. Because they don't have any run game. I don't know why, in my mind, I never paid attention to this, and I didn't give it any thought. But the run game from the Cardinals have not been good at all. They have struggled game after game at getting some type of momentum. And when you speak on the momentum of the run game, it helps get your offense started. It helps get some type of motion, some sort of flow in the offense. And if you don't have that, it makes the defense that much easier to stop you, or it makes the offense that much easier to stop. I put it that way. And if you're the Vikings, who has a pretty good defense, it's not much that you can expect from this team other than the pass. Yes, they got D-Hop's back, but the most effective person who's going to run the ball is Kyler Murray. This team does not run the ball well at any game. I think so far they've only been over 100 yards rushing once or twice so far, despite all of the losses. So if I'm the Vikings, you already know they're coming in to throw the ball. They're coming in to launch the ball. They're coming in to pass the ball. And as preparing for that, it's easy to do. And I don't think this was the test for the Vikings to see if they're actually a legit team. I think that test comes later on. The Vikings, yes, congratulations to them. They did their thing. I'm not going to completely take away the W for them because obviously it was earned. But this week here in week 8 was just clearly not the test that I thought it may have been for the Vikings, or that I thought it may be coming up for the Vikings. I think their test lies further down. They play the Bills in week 10. That's going to be a test right there. Bills have been absolutely rolling. So I think that's a test there. When they play the Cowboys after the Bills, that's more of a test there. So these later games, when you play these top dogs in a conference and you play the top dogs in other divisions rather than their own, that's when you'll decide, okay, is the Vikings legit? But as of now, they've been winning games, so I'm not going to take away from what they've done. But hey, the test of if they're legit still continues. We'll put it that way. But congratulations on the win. But hey, man, that's all I got for you guys today. I greatly appreciate you hanging with me, man. Greatly appreciate you tuning in with me. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Run Podcast, Instagram at The Run Podcast. Send this to a friend, a cousin, a brother, a coworker, an uncle, an aunt, a niece, a nephew, a grandparent, a grandfather, a grandmother. Anybody who may have enjoyed, especially if I talked about their team, talked about a player they may like, or just something that they may like to hear. So I appreciate that, man. Greatly appreciate your support. Call in again at 219 anytime 413-9405. Leave a voicemail. Make sure your voice is heard. But until then, we will be back later on next week, or this week actually, later on this week, and so on and so on and so on.